Hey, welcome to episode 168 of the Titanforge podcast. I'm Dratnos, joined by Trell.
What up, Dratnos?
Dude, you guys ever start talking and then you're like, oh no, I gotta clear my throat.
Oh, yeah.
We've also got Tettles.
Yo, what up?
What up? This week we have some 10.0.7 stuff. Obviously, the new patch is out, so we will be talking about that a little bit. And we also have some 10.1 news that is pretty exciting too, with the big Skarzard post. Part 1 of 2 potentially from Skarzard as well, so maybe another post coming as well soon.
I'm not really sure what's supposed to be in part 2 of that post, but
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
It is a large post
Yeah.
coming from Blizzard there, so we will be looking at all of that stuff. That's coming later in the show. We also have an MDI coming up soon. That is in next weekend, right? In
It's
like
not
10 days from now.
Yes,
8 days
correct.
from now. Yeah.
correct. That weekend.
Yeah, the
Soonish.
maps and stuff are out. We can see
Oh, did
where
they
they'll be going.
release? Yeah. What affixes we got?
We got 23 Algathar Tyrant Sanguine Explosive.
Trell's face. Oh, Trell's reaction is great. Just raises his eyebrows as
Nice.
he looks at the AA.
That's nice. That's a push key.
That's
That key would get you a rank 1 title, I think.
I believe that is better than
Well-
my. Hang on.
I don't think that's going to get you rank 1 title because title cutoff is going to be like 32.
I guess it's like
60 on
20
Okay.
or
hours.
something.
It's really close.
Well, let me just say, this is my IO right now. Currently, I'm above the title threshold, and my AA Tyrant is a 23. So this key would be
Jeez.
this
That is
key would be
insane.
IO for me if you could time it at an MDI speed, and I'm above the title threshold. So
The fact that they're going to try to do that dungeon in what
20 minutes,
19
something.
minutes?
Yeah.
Oh
That-
my god.
That's gonna be
Oh wait,
wild.
what was the court? The court was 23 tyrannical.
23 something. I didn't see what it
The
was.
court is 23. Also, 23 Tyrant Raging Storming. Now that one would not be IO for me. That would be I have a 26 in that dungeon. So
That one will
would
be
a little-
interesting.
yeah.
Because I think it was in time trials. I'm pretty sure it was tyrannical 21, and you could do the second boss without a healer because you had the brew. Every run in MDI, the brew is up.
Yeah.
I think you could probably do it on 23 without a healer, but it's going to be really, really hard for the teams if they do it. But it's a huge time save.
Do you think that? So you'd have the healer like kiting the mini bosses? Is that the meta?
Yeah, so the healer can kite at least the third LeBron. mini boss.
LeBron.
Maybe the Mike Pazowski mini boss as well, possibly. I'm not sure, but at least the third one. It's a huge time save because first of all, you don't have to kill the mini boss itself.
Mhm.
Second of all, you don't have to spawn the mini boss by killing a full, several million health enforcer. So it's like a minute plus time save.
Interesting.
Did-
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did we ever show this title cutoff website, Dratnos, a couple weeks back?
There's the Raider IO one. What's the other?
Click the one that I just put it.
Oh, yeah,
I just put
okay.
it at the very top.
Yeah, so
It's
Raider
like,
IOs has an estimate, but then there's also this one, this m+-title.versal.app, which has got an estimate of it if it goes through to, I guess, extrapolated through April 13th. The cutoff would be 32. We assume that it's probably going to go to like May 13th, though, probably, or May 7th or something in that range. So
Dratnos gonna have to get to like 3250 or
3250 or something.
something.
Yeah, which, my Ruby Life Pools is a 2220, so that would be pretty easy to secure
Yeah.
some IO in that. Secure
Yep.
50 points in there and bang. That's
There you go.
that's pretty easy, but yeah, can you make this go farther? Reset
Nah.
zoom. No, okay.
I hoped you could too. I was hoping.
Yeah, okay. Unlucky. All right, well, that's still a cool little resource to see the extrapolation. I would say historically, sometimes at the end of the season, the curve goes upwards as well, right? Because like that's when
Yes.
everybody actually starts pushing it. So it might be 3,300 even in NA. It's possible, especially if the Primordial Stones are like
True.
a power upgrade, which now they're looking like one for more, right? Like that could be an extra half a key level or something that you can do with them.
in season 4, we saw in the last week and a half the score go up. What was it, 40 points?
Yeah, we can actually look at that here. Shadowlands Season 4. Was this... Wait. This... Okay, yeah, it ended here.
Yeah, I mean,
At
like the last week and
3080.
a half, it was like
Yeah.
literally went up like almost 40 points.
Yeah. Last 2 weeks, it went up 50 points, so...
Yeah.
And then before that, it had gone up like not at all for... It'd been flat for months.
The whole season, I thought it was safe.
Yeah.
That was so cringe.
Yeah, so definitely something to be aware of if you are pushing for the score. Just always assume that it's not safe.
3.3k is probably safe.
I think three. It's hard to imagine 3.3 not
It's
holding.
got to be safe.
3.25 is even possibly good.
I don't want to say 3.25 is
Yeah.
good. I think that like 3.3. If you're trying to be safe and not play for the rest of the season, 3.3 is the safe spot.
Okay, speaking of the new season, any M plus meta shakeups? Let's talk about, I guess, MDI first. Do you guys think there's going to be any new stuff seen in the MDI's comps?
I bet so. Well, it's hard to say because they don't have much time to practice with it.
Okay.
But I think in theory that we could see some Warlock for sure. Well, I don't know. They did revert some of the like buffs, quote unquote, to Warlock, right? Since they were bugged.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Warlock's still pretty strong either way. But
Like
also, I've seen a lot of Affliction. I've seen a lot of BM Hunter damage meters very, very high, like up there past Moonkins and the other high AoE specs as well.
How about like Prot Paladin? Is it finally time?
I'm thinking of.
I don't think Paladin will see play in MDI, even though it's even stronger now. I think it's still going to be Warrior, just because Warrior has the 3 Thanos spells for MDI content, which is Spell Block, Mass Taunt, and Mass Interrupt on Mass Taunt as well. There's nothing you can do to top that for MDI.
Makes sense. Tell us about you. Anything new you're expecting to see there?
I think that Trell kind of nailed the ones that I was looking at. It's like new. I think that maybe there's a chance we see Enhancement Shaman, but I think in reality, if we're gonna see something that changes, I think it's most likely going to be maybe more Disc Priest, Prot Paladin. I could see it, but yeah, I think that the DPS comp. I mean, we saw so many specs during regional weekends or the cup weekends, anyways. I think that there's still not like a solid grasp as to what's the best and what isn't even still. But I think that, I mean, we might see more Disc with the nerf to Preservation, but like Pres didn't get their damage nerfed, so.
Actually, I bet we see Prot Paladin in that court. I bet that's the one.
Yeah, because you could do the solo or no healer second boss much easier with that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and you like they have a new talent that just heals the whole party every time they use Shield the Righteous. Like that'll be huge for that boss.
What about the primordial gems? Do you guys think any of those are going to be important for MDI? You could play like heal gems and no healer.
Maybe, yeah.
Is that
maybe
consistent enough? If you played
I don't know.
They do a lot of healing. Some of them do. So moving on to talking about 10.0.7, I guess the Onyx Amulet and the Primordial Stone gems are the new main system, and the TLDR was they released with I guess they released in a state that wasn't super strong. There was like one combo that was quite good, but they buffed them by 25% on the first day.
Yeah,
all the gems. Then earlier today, they buffed a bunch of them by some more. So they gave big 12 to 70% buffs to many stones. They did also nerf one of the stones that a lot of people were using by adding an ICD to the Humming Arcane stone. And they also nerfed the Swirling Mojo stone, which there was a bug you could abuse with it to get stuff sent to your mailbox. So that one is obviously an understandable nerf. But the 20-second ICD on Humming Arcane was kind of, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all this, but there was also, they added the ability to crit to a bunch of gems too. So basically now it looks like the amulet is definitely worth using for everybody, right?
Oh, no. That's not true.
Okay.
So for some DPS specializations that already were like enjoying the amulet, it might be better. Yeah. And it might be in a situation where they want it. For tanks and healers, it is definitely something that you're going to want to get, specifically if you're looking for like tank and healer DPS. That is definitely going to be something you want to get.
Right.
Now for DPS, they actually nerfed the amount of damage that. So they set up with the Humming Arcane Stone, the Desert's Bloodstone, and the what was the other one? That Necrotic Stone. That
Yeah, the
procs vice
Prophetic
versa
Twilight
effects.
Stone.
Yeah.
The Prophetic Twilight Stone. So that setup was better than crafted rings for a lot of DPS on pure single target. Not very strong on AoE in a lot of situations. Still sending to downgrade on AoE. And now they've nerfed that to where you no longer play the Humming Arcane Stone because of the ICD.
Right.
And so that means that most DPS specs that were maybe even looking to play it are no longer looking to play it.
They buffed several of the other damage alternatives, though, that you could put into that spot.
But you're not really playing those. Like for like DPS, they're going to play like the Storm Infused one now. That's the crit.
Yeah.
On crit, you get damage procs, which
also has AoE value.
Yeah, it has some AoE value, but like it's still not an upgrade in a lot of situations that aren't pure single target, which we just don't see a lot of this tier.
Yeah, it seems like freezing ice as well is something that people were talking about using as that other spot, which just does good damage. I don't know. It looks like at least the DPS in my guild are all saying they're planning to use it, I think, with this set of changes. But I guess it's still very early days after this set of buffs.
I mean, I would make sure that I have it, like especially going into next tier, because there are a lot of patchwork single target fights next tier. Like, I would just make sure that I have it.
I mean, it's very early. Like it's the third day of the patch, right? I'm sure that by this time next week, even we'll have a pretty good idea of like whether it's worth for everybody. But I think it's worth for almost everybody, at least in most cases. You can also play defensive setups on it as well, that are also looking quite good. Somebody sent me in them playing like Brewmaster with 2 shield stones and 1 that does damage when you get a shield. And the damage from that was like 8% of their overall damage, and also it represented 25% of their overall healing. So I don't know. That's a lot of value for a ring slot, right?
Actually,
yeah,
really,
yeah.
That's insanely good.
You just made Trell's day.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I would say we'll see how all this works out. We'll see which ones end up being good. How have you guys been feeling about the balance changes that we've been seeing here?
I mean, you talked about this last week, right?
Yeah. Well, we didn't know it was going to be like this, gyms? But
I mean, we kind of did, right?
Well, we all knew they were going to go live and then get buffed like crazy.
Yeah.
That just tends to happen when a new system's coming out and they're undertuned and they want people to use them. But like, I don't even think they're done tuning them. I think honestly, people maybe want to sit on their upgrade shards for now because we're on day 3 of the patch and it's already been like 3 days in a row of just pure changes on these gems. So I don't know. I'm not surprised though.
I don't mean this to be toxic, but it feels like it was like the system was designed by one person. They just didn't have enough time to balance test a lot of these gems, right? Because it doesn't feel like it's like not complete. Like the Zeskera Vault and like the gems themselves, like there might be some unintended interactions that we see, which again, like kind of leaves credence to it might be just designed by one person. But a lot of the issues just come from the fact that they weren't tuned. Like they were undertuned rather, significantly undertuned rather, relative to expectations. And now they are getting buffed to try to get closer to those expectations, but there's still an issue of like, this was good for Rogue coming into the patch already, and they're trying to get it to a spot where it's good for all DPS specs, but it was already good for one DPS spec, so that one specific class is getting buffed more than others. Like, is that fair? I don't really know.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a number of different things you could take issue with here. I think the least good to care about is stuff like this Mojo Stone getting changed to not come to your mailbox and unique, like these sorts of changes. I just see this as like bug fix. This has to happen, right? Like that I don't think is at all reasonable to be super upset about. Stuff though, like the across the board, 25% buff across the board, and then pretty much a 12% buff across the board here, plus some more buffs to certain stones.
Some of them are like 70% today.
So now we're seeing, across the board like 40% plus extra tuning to specific stones. It's just like, Ian had he had his thing where he was like, yeah, we intend for this to be good for everybody, and then everybody was like, well, but it's not with this tuning.
Yeah.
And then it went live and it was not. And then it is getting buffed to now be that way, which the symmetric buffs I kind of don't mind. But then the fact that, okay, we're buffing all these, but actually we're nerfing this one, right? Like, okay, I upgraded that one, right? Like,
I upgraded that one. Yes.
And obviously it's like a small patch. There's no raid progression going on, but it still feels bad to have upgraded the wrong gem.
Do you remember when I cleansed my void ritual
Right.
weapon?
I do remember.
That
I made a lot of fun of you for that one.
It was so cringe. And it's like, okay, I upgraded that humming stone, and I don't really care because it's not during prog or anything like that. So it's like whatever. But it's still kind of like a similar situation. I mean, you guys are tanks, so you guys are getting more of the brunt of this than me as a DPS, because I can still just wear my crafted ring and be kind of close at minimum.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I also upgraded the Storm Infused Stone, and so I have a good combo with that plus Desirous plus Prophetic, and that's going to be fine for me for the rest of the week. But I don't have enough currency to try anything else, try any of these other buffed ones.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about like being forced to wear these rings now? Because you guys, I mean, as tanks, these are damage procs. Like these aren't stats. These are procs.
I'm a little conflicted about it. I think if that shield one stays that good, that's actually really cool, and I'm down with that. But having to, let's say the shield ones weren't good in this world, and you just have damage gems, which is like kind of what everyone's running right now is the damage gems. It does just make you lose like over 1,000 secondary stat for some borrowed power gems. And it's like, okay, well, I should run this because it's doing 15% more single target. That's huge on a tank.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna miss those stats. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking about this, and it doesn't bother me that the tuning is happening like this because I have so many sources of info on the game. But like, let's imagine the average player that doesn't read Wowhead every day or have like a Discord server bot that alerts them when these gems get buffed or nerfed. Like, what do you expect those players are going to do? They're just going to not know that these gems are ever buffed by 150% by 1 week into the patch or something.
Yeah,
I think that players that are like that don't care anyways. Yeah, maybe that's just bad take though.
I mean, if you want them to play the content, you should probably have the content prepared so that they want to use those gems, and then just not write them off and never use them again because they don't know that they got buffed.
Sure. Okay, that's fair criticism, I think.
Yeah, I guess to me it's mostly like, man, I'm getting serious domination shard flashbacks, which I didn't think would happen with this system because like, they aimed it in the middle patch where it doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter, right? Like it is a minor patch. So, but I guess what the thing I'm most feeling is like, this is a pattern of them walking face first into a tuning problem that was called for months from PTR tuning, right? Like that people were talking about for months. And also an acquisition problem of like, hey, we are buffing and nerfing to retroactively make your decisions about how to spend limited resources. And we're making those decisions now retroactively incorrect, right? Like these are two patterns that were characteristic of Shadowlands philosophies and designs that I thought they'd stopped doing. Like I thought that they had learned from those and were not doing that anymore. And so seeing it happen, so obviously it's like a small system, it's a minor patch. Maybe it'll only happen here, and if it does only happen in minor patches, fine.
I'm okay
but it
with
makes
that,
me really worried because it's the exact same pattern that led to domination shards and like a lot of the 9.0, 9.1 problems, a lot of the 8.0, 8.1 problems being as bad as they were. And I really thought that they were turning over a new leaf on doing this kind of stuff, but it's like they're literally crashing face first into them saying that we have this plan for the gems, everybody being like, these gems are not going to do that yet, and then them being like, oh, these gems aren't doing it, we have to buff it 2 days into the patch. Like, come on.
This is the whatever time we've had this, because we had this with Azure, right? We had this with corruption, we had this with domination shards. Like we have literally had this happen to us a couple of times now, and thank God it's not a major patch, right? Like thank God it's 10.0.7, and Ian has stated multiple times as well, he wants these to go away.
So that's another part of the problem is he said that they're not supposed to be better than Mythic Aberrus rings, right? I don't know how it's going to be like that for tanks and healers though. Yeah, like genuinely. That's the thing. With this tuning that we have right here, this is better than Mythic Aberus rings for surezies, for tanks and healers at least. So that is going to be a problem that, again, if they just said, hey, we'll just nerf this, right? We're planning to nerf this 2 weeks into 10.1. That's our plan. Fine, right? And also if they just said, hey, oops, we didn't balance this very well because it was a minor patch, and but we have a more rigorous plan for major patch systems. I would feel much better about hearing that. But I suspect that what we're going to hear is radio silence, and we're just going to have to hope that that's what's going on behind the scenes, is that it was just like a minor patch thing.
You mentioning the Aberus rings thing, I think if a tank has the new ring that just came out plus the Mythic Diurna ring, I don't think you even touch the rings in the next tier whatsoever. I think you just wear those for the next few patches.
Yeah. Absolutely. Which especially Brewmasters, man. Brewmaster Diurna ring. That's
Yeah.
a hell of a combo.
Yeah, those two things together, like it's probably like 40% of your healing, 35%.
So yeah, I guess that's where I'm at with the system. Is it seems like a lot of unforced errors coming in.
I guess the last thing is just like, do we need this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's cool to put in new stuff like this, but like keeping the game having something new instead of 8 months of absolutely nothing, right? Like between patch to patch. I think that's cool. It's just like
Zone is cool.
Yeah, I like. Also, there are ways that this could be less bad as well if you could move your upgrades around a little bit more. Like if they were gonna have to buff and nerf like this, having some system where you weren't like time gated on how much upgrading and scrapping you could do each week would also make it feel a lot better. Like when I see these buffs and nerfs,
True.
when I hear about other combos now being potentially better, and I'm looking at my stuff and I'm like, well, I've already done my vaults for this week, right? Like this feels bad now, but it wouldn't feel as bad if that wasn't true as well. So
oh dude, the amount of people that I hear have intense PTSD of like, why would I upgrade this now whenever they might just nerf it is ridiculous. Because like in my mind, what are we waiting for? Like emergency tuning like later on in the week so that we can't do M plus this week and instead we have to go do ours as a Scare Vault next Tuesday to unlock it again. And it's just fortunately enough, the system's not restrictive like that. I actually think that the system is significantly better in that aspect of it. But it's funny that players have the same intense like reaction to that kind of thing that we have to like the previous systems where it was like, oh, people didn't craft their legendaries because they're worried about them getting nerfed.
Right.
People don't upgrade your shards to domination until after we see tuning. Like that level of like, oh my god, do not commit to anything. Be as non-committal as possible. And I think that's just awful. It's just awful design.
And it sucks that they have made that the right decision again, right? Like
it's always the right decision. I don't even understand how, man.
Yeah. So.
Oh, also, I feel like we should mention that the vaults do reset weekly, like you alluded to a second ago.
Yes.
So bank your keys up on the character that you want to use these stones on, because next Tuesday you can go and open I think every single door again.
Yeah, all 40. Yeah.
And so yeah, that's it. I was looking today. I was like, what do I do with these extra keys since I already opened all the doors? I didn't even know that until today.
If you have alts as well, your alts can get a lot of keys. There are a lot of keys front loaded into the quest line, and those keys are bind on account. So if you have characters that are max level but that you don't care about the Onyx Amulet on, you can use them to. You can spend like 5 minutes and get 9 keys and send them to your main. It's very easy.
I genuinely think the system is pretty good. Like these are
yeah. Also, like the Scarab Vault is sweet. That's cool. Like that place is.
I agree.
Yeah,
the
cool.
Forbidden Reach is cool. Like the rares, the profession tie-ins with the stuff. Just having a new zone to fly about in. It's just like
tuning on the stones. It's just tuning on the stones.
Yeah, and it's the worst part is that it was seen coming and like posted about and talked about so much that like, you know, whenever there's like a new problem that nobody saw coming, I have so much more willingness to forgive about it than this.
There is a THD tweet from early February that called this exact situation too, by the way. Like,
oh man,
like this exact one. And it's just the fact that we know that shit's coming a month and a half in advance is ridiculous.
Yeah. Again, though, not a major patch. The stuff that's coming in patch 10.1 largely looks to be pretty sweet. And there's not anything that is setting off warning signs like this gem would, like this system would, if it was on PTR right now. So I don't have any immediate worries about 10.1 as a result of this. It's more that I just have a kind of general feeling of, this is the Blizzard, the old Blizzard, right? Like this is Shadowlands Blizzard again, doing their thing with balance and systems.
So are you not worried about this ring continuing to be BIS for tanks and healers moving into the next patch?
Oh yeah, it will be if they don't nerf it. But
okay,
they said that they didn't want that, and so the thing is though that it doesn't matter as much to if they nerf it later versus if they buff it later, right? Because like, what am I gonna do? Like, is there gonna be a ring that I would have won that I won't have won? Right? No, I'm a tank. I'm not getting any loot out of the raid anyways, right? So
I actually think that right now, the way it's tuned in our numbers next patch, I think it'll end up being like 3 or 4% of your overall damage in a key. So I think you'd actually wear a stat ring over that with the mythic level of next year.
I think it's
But
like
you-
10%. It was 10% of my overall with the Storm Desires Blood yesterday. So,
Yeah, well,
and
I
that
mean,
has gone up.
if it's like 8 or 10% now, I mean, it's going to be like 4% later, right? In the next patch when you're
Maybe.
scaled up, because the rings will stay the same scaling, I assume. I
Yeah,
don't think they scale with your main set or anything.
that's true. So yeah, I guess maybe it will be replaceable with stats, definitely for like defense. But again, if there's good defensive combos on this ring, like especially against the tank mechanics of next raid tier, a lot of the tank
that's true.
mechanics of next raid tier key off of damage done to the tank, which versatility reduces, but absorb shields reduce even more effectively. So
Yeah, absorbs are perfect for that.
that's going to be potentially really valuable against those tank mechanics. Okay. Before we get to tip of the week, I want to quickly talk about another thing coming with next patch, just a little hijack of the plan here, which is the very rares.
Please do. We didn't have much
Oh,
show
yeah.
notes this week, honestly.
So did you guys see this? They announced what the very rares were doing in 10.1, which
I haven't. Please do tell me, actually.
so okay, there is this cloak, which is this Voice of the Silent Star, which comes off of the last boss. It is a crit haste cloak that says whenever nearby allies take damage, the voice has a chance to beckon you. Upon hearing its call 10 times, you fully submit to its influence, stealing 157 of the 4 nearest allies' lowest secondary stat, and giving you the stolen amount plus 1,575 to your highest secondary stat for 8 seconds.
What?
Does that thing
Yeah.
not have stamina, by the way?
It also is a no stamina cloak. Yeah,
Is that intentional?
that is intentional. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Dude, I do not like that.
Yeah.
This is I don't even want to see that drop.
It-
Steals 4 people's.
Well, so it
41
steals their lowest stat and gives you your highest stat plus a boatload of extra on top. So it's gotta be good, right? But
So do you just slam that sucker on melee and just steal all of your holy paladins and tank stats?
maybe, yeah. That could be the way to do it. You know, stealing the tank's lowest stat as well is not even
That's not even that bad.
right. It's just like, I mean, I think the thing is like it's probably going to be pretty hard to reliably have this hit, like to play in such a way that this is reliably hitting a certain combination of people. But maybe you could have the melee wearing this close, try and stay closest to the tanks.
Yeah, I mean, just like numbers wise, like tanks and heal, like
Right,
holy
it's just
paladin.
like if you imagine Razageth, it's hard for a melee DPS to have the tanks be closer to them than 4 other melee, with how you're usually spread around that fight.
I mean, think about any other boss though. Like think about like Sinarth or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you could try and sack on the tank, but like, I think realistically, this thing is probably just going to proc and hit 4
maybe.
randoms, usually. Which
Wow.
sometimes, obviously, this cloak is never going on a tank or healer. It's going on a DPS, and then sometimes it's stealing from a tank or healer. So
Man.
anytime it does, that's good. Obviously,
How do you feel about this, Ratnus?
I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. I mean, like obviously, it's going to cause a lot of drama. It's
Yeah.
like first of all, if you have this on a caster, you're going to be stealing verse probably from your nearby casters because verse is usually casters' lowest stats, right? So
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
make them squishier. You are squishier because you are wearing a no stamina cloak. So
God.
it's like, but it's funny. It's a high risk reward item. It's very rare. It's from the last boss. I think it's kind of cool. I don't know. I do think it's like, you know, you're in like a key or whatever, and somebody's wearing this, and you're just like, man, can you not? And like,
I just
maybe
feel like they shouldn't.
yeah.
Why would they make the very rare, like exclusive item? You know, the like have such a big kiss curse thing on it. Like the very rares from this tier were just massive buffs. You know, no downside whatsoever. And I feel like if you finally get that drop and you're like, oh, like, I don't know, I don't even know how I feel about this item. Like that's kind of weird.
Yeah, although it does help fix the problem of like everybody wants these very rares, right? Like now, if all the very rares are like something that half the raid looks at and is like, ugh, then you know.
Well, like the problem is that like that's the bis. That is actually a bis item, right?
Oh yeah, it is
Well,
definitely bis for damage for
It
every
has
DPS.
its stamina removed and given to secondary stats. Like
Yeah.
thing's like that thing's pretty sick, but like I don't know. I'm not. I actually genuinely don't know how I feel about it. Like I see a lot of people in chat kind of not a fan, and I think I understand both sides of this. I'm not sure how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's like it's cool to have interesting items that are like it's like a glass cannon item, right? Like obviously it's like a glass cannon item and also a screw over your nearby party and raid members, which you know that part's gonna be controversial, sure, but
I mean, it can't be worse than the trinket that was from Opulence, right? It can't be worse than that cringe thing.
it reminds me of corruption a little bit, right? Where it's like, you know, power
Okay.
at what cost, right? Like, is this worth using? I think with the number on this, it is just going to be absolutely worth putting though on any like if you as a raid get this, it's always going to be worth it in a mythic raiding guild to stick this on some tanky DPS.
Yeah, I mean, it's never worth to put on a tank or a healer though.
Oh yeah, never put it on a tank or healer, but very rare items already
That's
weren't
going
going
straight
to
to the
those people,
warlocks.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this absolutely is a warlock cloak right here, which
Actually, BM hunters. Have you seen BM hunters health pools?
Yeah.
I guess hunters in general, they have like 400k health now.
yeah, they got huge buffs in their like class tree to the stamina nodes, right?
Plus they have a Spirit Beast out. They get bonus HP.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they wear pretty good armor, right? Mail armor, that's the second best kind, so that's pretty good.
Dude, I got a new post for you. Is this the end of the very rare items?
No, there's one other one.
Oh,
There's
okay, yeah, let's show this.
Jaroon, Pillar of the Elder Flame. This one's a little bit less
What does this
exciting.
do?
It's
Okay.
a Agi polearm from Rashok the Elder, which is one of the bosses we tested last week. The last one I think we tested. That it's a haste mastery polearm with a 2-minute 30 cooldown to give you 10 seconds of. It does fire damage on use, and then your autos do a split damage fire thing. It's fairly small numbers on this effect, and it is a 2-minute 30-second cooldown for a 10-second buff that triggers off of each auto on a 3.6 attack speed polearm. So realistically, you're not going to get very many hits in with this, even if you have a pretty high,
Maybe
haste or
Feral
whatever.
Druid.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. They designed two things that are auto attack based for monk.
Yeah.
And monks are terrible at auto attacking.
So have you thought about meleeing more?
Yeah.
That is screwed up, man.
Yeah, they changed the Windwalker tier, and it still keys off of auto attacks the 4 fees.
Yeah, I saw that. They changed the Brewmaster tier too, and it still wants you to RSK on AoE.
Okay.
Oh,
We got new news about Primordial Stones. So while we were joking about, not even 15 minutes ago about the blatant swings and pendulum swings
Oh,
of
no.
tuning, we got more, by the way.
Oh, okay. Edit number 3, 4 p.m. PST. Wild Spirit Stone nerfed by
love them
10.7%. Exuding Steam Stone nerfed by 25.6%. Okay. These were 2 of the healing stones that got buffed in the previous set. These were ones that got buffed and then what? So these 2
Are these
stones.
the ones where so if healers were just running forward, they were doing like 35k HPS
Yeah.
Yes.
like while
It was one
running,
of those.
doing nothing else.
But that was not due to the stone. That was due to the well, I guess it's partially due to the stone, but that was also due to the fact that the wind stone gives speed to all allies, which counted in this case as like a proc.
I thought that was pretty funny. They should have
What
kept that.
What a
That would have been so funny.
Well,
Just assign someone to run for the entire encounter in a circle.
dude, our healer in my guild was actually playing this last night before like the combo was like widely known, and it was doing like 9 and 10% of his healing, and I was looking at it, I didn't fully understand what he was doing, right? But he was telling me about it, and I was like, I didn't fully follow what he was doing, and then I saw somebody do 40k HPS with this today, and I was like, what the fuck is that?
So, but that's been fixed, right? Like the interaction that lets it do that like let it re-trigger itself or whatever, that's gone.
That got fixed.
But the healing got a huge buff earlier today, and now it's gotten nerfed back down. Okay, so all right, if you upgraded these stones in the past 3 hours because you saw they got buffed by 70%, and now they got nerfed by another 25%, my deepest condolences. But also, I guess Mickey Mouse patch, right? None of it matters, so it's okay.
No.
All right, well, we will keep bringing you updates throughout this podcast as the situation changes on Primordial Stones.
No, man, there's no way we get another one.
I feel like one of those news anchors that's just like, breaking news!
Primordial Stones!
Yeah.
Nerfed?
Yeah. Burfed?
Changes I get.
All right. Well, let's move on to tip of the week. My tip of the week is, and I haven't confirmed if this works yet, but the way that next patch crafted gear works is you can upgrade items that are already existing. Now you do need new materials. You need crests that are enchanted from the new patch, which are somewhat time-gated currency, but pretty high time gate. So you'll get most of those in the first couple of weeks that you might ever need. You also need new sparks of Shadow Flame instead of Sparks of Ingenuity to make that upgrade. So that is a limiting resource, but it's unclear if maybe sockets will stay on those items when you upgrade them. So my tip of the week is that it's probably worthwhile, and I haven't tested this on PTR. If somebody has and has confirmed that this does or doesn't work, this would be good for me to know. I've been looking and I haven't been able to find any info on if somebody's done this, but it's probably worth it to craft and socket helms, bracers, and belts, which are the 3 slots that you can craft into that don't, like rings come with a guaranteed socket, right? Necklaces you can add sockets to, so those ones don't matter, but helms, bracers, and belts can have sockets added to them, and it's possible that your Season 1 Great Vault could put a socket into a crafted item that you will then use in Season 2 and basically get a Season 2 socket out of. So that is a pattern that is potentially worth doing.
So
hopefully they nerf this. Like, hopefully this is not something that works. And I haven't tested this, so I may be talking about something that's not worth worrying about at all. Maybe it's already something they've addressed, but the way that to fix this would be to make sure that sockets get wiped when you go from Season 1 to Season 2 item level on an upgrade, but I don't know if they have the tech for that. I don't know if that's there.
Yeah, so this is happening because of something that we talked about last, or maybe 2 shows ago, where they were changing the upgrade path to allow you to be able to continue on with the gear that you have right now, right? With upgrading?
Yeah, crafted gear. Crafted gear can get upgraded up to Dragonflight Season 2 levels using a Dragonflight Season 2 mats and stuff, which is cool, right? It's just like maybe it can preserve the socket if it's in one of those socket spots, so maybe that's a good thing to be doing with your time right now. All right, Trell, what is your tip of the week?
Oh, that's a useful tip right now, so I'm impressed.
Thank you. I was out of meme ones. Yeah,
that's messed up.
Yeah, some of those are great, gotta say. But mine is a macro for prop pally, so you can stance and prop pally like you can as a prop warrior for like battle stance, defensive stance. But now prop pally has Diva aura and Retribution aura, so this is a macro that just puts it all in one button. Then you can swap them back and forth. I'd recommend just also using a weak aura to tell which aura you have on at the moment.
Yeah, you can do this. Yeah, it's exactly like stance dancing, right? Where you just have one button to change this rather than having to press 2 buttons to change between your 2 stances. So
yeah,
absolutely.
And I put it in our Discord's weak auras / resources channel if anybody wants it.
Yeah, there's similar ones for if you're playing warrior and you don't have that for battle stance D-stance. That is also very important.
Oh yeah. Although this one is on the GCD, so it's a little harder to do mid-combat. This one's going to be like you walk into a hard pack, put on Diva aura, next pull is an easy pull, put on Ret aura before the pull kind of thing. Whereas warrior, you could do it off GCD, so like a tank hit was coming and then you swap D-stance off GCD, and then after that swap back battle stance.
So we didn't really talk about this too much. I'm kind of surprised that they went through with this Ret aura change, by the way. Just as a whole for the game.
It made it to live buffed slightly from the version that we originally saw as well.
Yeah. So I mean, you're gonna need to run 2 paladins in your raid probably next year.
Yeah.
At least if you care about being competitive, is what I was saying.
Right. The Ret aura paladin is adding about as much value to the raid as like a Chaos Brand Havoc Demon Hunter. A little bit less than Chaos Brand, but
a little bit less. Yeah.
I think it's got to be more than Mystic Touch.
Yeah, exactly. More than Mystic Touch, less than Chaos Brand, which is Mystic Touch is also mandatory, right? So this is at that like mandatory, as mandatory as anything gets, right? Like obviously you can play without it, but if you are pushing ranks or whatever, this having a second paladin is absolutely worth making sure you do.
Because Devo is also mandatory, like
right? Yeah, Devo is is not something you'd play without. Now you could play just one paladin and like just kind of wing it, maybe even have them switch auras between phases and fights or something like that, and try and get more than like half the benefit, but it would still be quite a bit worse. Okay,
I think Red's just going to be a staple in raid next year. By the way, I don't know if we talked about Red yet on this show, but the changes were pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah,
they have like 13% avoidance baseline now. They have 3 defensives instead of 2, and both their defenses are 1-minute CDs. And then they have just like a full 1-minute build and a 2-minute build option in their tree. It's really, really good.
Interesting.
All right, Tettles, what is your clip of the week here on
Oh,
Cross?
useful. It's actually useful. So this apparently on Croth, well, it's useful in some situations. It's useful if you're pushing keys. So you can actually line the Sonic Screech cast before the debuff goes out, and you don't get the circle on you, and then it makes you not take any damage. So you literally have to walk. You have to walk to like either this spot or the mirrored version on the other side, and you can line it.
Does cat form make you small enough to make it lineable, or can you do this in other forms as
I
well?
don't know,
Do you
but
need to, like-
I've always had issues with things in
Mhm.
Moonkin form anyway, so I wasn't gonna be willing to. I wasn't really trying.
Well, that's a good tech. Not something that you need for Croth up until unless you're doing like high Tyran or whatever. But
Yeah.
if you want it, that's good tech.
I mean, everybody. If you're running a bunch of range, like everybody can line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I mean, you have to go there before you get the
The circle under
before
you,
she
right?
even starts the cast, right?
Yeah.
Before you get the
Yes.
initial circle.
Correct. It's not like you can't like line the detonation or whatever. You have to line the application of the circle.
Okay, we have a blue post now.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Breaking news on the
fourth
Primordial
change.
Stone report.
Fourth change, by the
Dude.
way.
Doo-doo-doo. All right, here's the blue. Here's the blue post. Several hotfixes were made to Primordial Stones today. The intent here is to bring other Primordial Stones up to the competitive level where the Humming Arcane Stone is currently performing. But a portion of this could be attributed to a bug. Although a portion of this level of performance could be attributed to a bug, even when fixed, the Humming Arcane Stone was still the top performer. With these changes, we're hoping to make other combinations more viable, but not necessarily overtake it. Okay, well, but then they also did nerf the Arcane Stone. In addition, the AoE stones have gotten a considerable increase in their output. These changes are listed below. Thank you for your feedback.
They literally nerfed the Arcane Stone to not be the best stone now.
Yeah, that is
It's worse than the Storm Stone.
They've just gone on the internet and lied.
Well,
Can't
I
believe
don't know.
this.
I don't think it's like that serious. It's a fucking video game, but like,
Yeah, I didn't even know people were allowed to do that. But yeah, that's I guess not really a post explaining their thoughts so much, but a little bit of what they were thinking towards bringing everything up in value.
maybe exaggerating exactly what it was in the
Yeah.
description.
So okay, well, that's the saga of the Primordial Stones. Next week, we will see. Okay, I guess here's my question to you guys. There have been 4 updates to Primordial Stones now. You could maybe argue 5 or something, maybe, but let's call it 4 between patch and now.
Okay.
This time next week, when we're recording, how many more do you think will have happened between now and then?
1.
1?
I'm gonna guess 3.
3?
Oh, taking a.
I'll
split
guess
the difference.
I'll guess 2.
Okay.
That will be my.
You don't
guess.
guess. You don't guess a 0.
No, I suspect there will need to be more changes. So okay,
I think there'll be 1 on Monday.
one on
my
Monday.
guess.
Okay, you think they're riding it out from here till Monday?
I think they write it out from here. Well, that post right there is them saying, "I am leaving the office. I am done tuning these dumb stones."
Well, it's Thursday, not Friday. They're
leaving the office
work.
today. They gotta go home today.
I see.
But they got tomorrow though.
Yeah,
You never know.
They got ray testing to facilitate tomorrow, man.
that's true. That is true.
That's probably somebody else doing that.
I know. It certainly is not the same person.
All right. Well, we have, speaking of 10.1, the Skarzard post, which is an unmitigated banger. This thing has a lot of good stuff in it, and it talks a little bit about the catalyst. And the basic TLDR of this is that there were a lot of things that were true at the end of Shadowlands that changed into Dragonflight, such as the raid got a lot easier. It got a lot easier to get multiple slots in your vault. The chances of seeing tier in your vault went up from all rows in particular, and trading restrictions were removed as well, so you wouldn't get used like a heroic tier upgrade that went on somebody who already had normal tier but couldn't trade it. You wouldn't get a 5-piece going to somebody before they could trade off to somebody to get them 4-piece. So with those things happening, they decided to not move the catalyst forward, and they were, from their data behind the curtain, they basically say that people got more tier than even they were expecting, and people who were filling up between 3 and 6 Great Vault slots either had their 4-piece completed before the Catalyst opened or were able to complete it that very week.
Yeah.
But people who engage only with M+, only with PvP, 0 rating at all, still were unlikely to complete their 4-piece bonus before the Catalyst arrived.
Extremely unlikely is the verbiage they use too.
Yeah, which of course, if you weren't setting foot in the raid, you had to like high roll 3 out of 5 vaults or something to make it happen on Catalyst Week, which was very hard to do.
Yep.
They don't talk in this post at all about healer, tank, master loot issues or anything like that. So another thing that's left out, but it's interesting revealing look behind the curtain about that. But then the post moves on to talking about what's going to change next season. They're not moving the Catalyst back or anything like that, but they are buffing a lot of tier acquisition stuff. So first of all, the Catalyst charge system it's going to be the most player friendly, like the most friendly so far. You're not going to have that weekly quest. You're not going to be able to miss a week. There's not going to be a currency that you could be short on to upgrade. You just get 1 charge per week, per account, per character, which is really good. Basically the best of both worlds between the Shadowlands and Dragonflight's Catalyst. Also, there is going to be a bonus heroic tier piece that everybody will be able to earn 1 Omni token for heroic tier for either clearing the raid on heroic,
Yep.
getting 2200 IO,
Okay.
or getting 1800 in PvP,
Mhm.
which is quite a low bar for a guaranteed Omni token of heroic tier, right? Like 2200 M+ rating is, if you can do that the first week, that's hard because you won't have fortified or Triron score or whatever, but by the second week, that we're talking about doing like all the dungeons on 16 or 17, right?
Correct.
Which is quite, obviously like all the dungeons, like it's a lot of playing World of Warcraft to do this in the first or second week. Also, like obviously if you're getting week 1 AOTC, that also does it, but even if you're not one of those players, right, this is going to be an Omni token. If you get this on the 4th week, right, that's still well ahead of when you would get it from like when you'd be able to start catalyzing, right?
I'm gonna keep it honest. I think 1800 in PvP might be the easiest way. 1800, by the way, is not that hard.
Well, I feel like
it depends on the
2200
player
plus
for
is
sure.
easier. I don't know.
I feel like this is probably
2200 M plus is gated though, whereas you can just grind like 60 games of arena and get 1800 really easily.
Week one of PvP is hard though, right? Like week 1.
I grinded 2100 week 1 for all of BFA. Every single season of BFA, I grind 2100.
Yeah, but you also could get 2200 M+ rating week 1 if you wanted to as well, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
I think the 1800 in arena is way easier, but we'll see.
I don't know.
So how many ways can you get tier as a Mythic Plus only player now? Is it you have the Omni token from raid,
Well,
and then you have Great Vault still?
Well,
the Omni token from this achievement, right?
yes.
Or yeah, from Mythic Plus, sorry. And then you have like
And then the
rating
Great
for
Vault.
tiers.
So if you're an M+
Great Vault.
only person, the only thing that's changed for you is this
Is you
the
get
addition
1
of just
guaranteed
one
piece of
piece.
tier.
Yeah. However, the raid tier is much more friendly. If you're somebody who does high Mythic Plus but low raid, the low raid tier has gotten a lot better because they're adding an Omni token to the last boss as well. Now, it's going to drop 1 Omni token per defeat, which creates a weird incentive to kill this boss in 3 groups of 10 rather than 1 group of 30, which is cringe. So hopefully that doesn't make it to live. But the last boss dropping Omni tokens means there's more tier bosses in the raid. But also, heroic and normal tier can also be eye level upgraded now. Normal tier can be eye level upgraded all the way up to high heroic eye level. Heroic tier can be upgraded to low mythic eye level, which means if you are somebody who is a mythic pluser, but you can full clear normal with with a guild or a pug, by doing that, you can now get 411 tier effectively instead of 398 or whatever, 392 tier. So
yeah, that's pretty good. That's really good.
I do think this is a bit ridiculous. I mean, we'll talk about it. Sorry, finish your thought.
It's just like tier for M+ only people. Yeah, you're only getting +1 tier piece. But if you're an M+ only, if you're like a non-mythic raider, you are now getting mythic equivalent tier, or like high heroic, like 1 eye level step below mythic tier, much faster into this patch because of the upgrade system and this combining.
Something that we see constantly parroted by M+ only and PvP only players is that they do not want to step foot in the raid though, and this does not solve that. In fact, you could argue it actually makes it worse.
Well, at least it's not Mythic Raid they have to step into. I think that's most of the problem. Like a lot of people don't want to step into Mythic Raid because of the scheduling requirements and all that, you know. But I agree. Like this, it does require you to raid, but at least there's double the amount of chances to get your tier.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the normal raid gear going up to high heroic eye level is huge for that, right? Like consider if you get 411 tier out of normal vault, like how big would that be for M plusers in the early weeks, right? Like pretty big, right? If you
I actually don't even
those?
think it is, because here's the thing is like you get most of your damage spike once you complete the set. Right. And the odds of them completing the set, even with this guaranteed piece of tier, I don't even think it's going to be that high, especially with like a 6-week lock on the catalyst. Like for them to be able to get 3 more pieces on top of that, like you were saying that they had to like high roll 3 pieces previously. Now they only have to high roll 2 pieces with the first week of the catalyst, I guess is what we're implying. But the odds of them doing that is still very low.
Well, it's gone up by quite a bit though, right? Like you have an Omni token, you can craft that into any slot, right?
Sure.
Then you're talking. So you've got your Omni token, and now you just need to get 3 pieces of tier, right? So if you clear normal 3 times, heroic twice, and you get 1 piece out of one of your 18 vault slots that you're seeing in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's 4 piece, right? That's 4 piece, and it's 4 piece that in Vault of the Incarnates land that would have been 3 piece with a 392, a 398, and a 405. And now that's going to be 4 piece with 3 411s and a 415, right? Like that's equivalent, right? Plus
they don't want
26
to raid,
into the
right?
next patch, right? So
like that's functionally the issue, is that they don't want to raid.
Yeah, if you are unwilling to do the normal or heroic raids, then yes, you're still going to be you are going to be only +1 tier piece out of this system, which it means that whenever you had 1 piece, you would now have 2 piece. Whenever you would have had 3 piece, you would now have 4 piece. Which for some players, obviously, like you only got 4 piece on the 4th week of having the catalyst out, so those players are only getting +1 week out of this. But there were a lot of people who like had 1 piece or 3 piece and were waiting to get 2 or 4, and that will now have it off of this Omni token, right? Because again, you only need to get a couple of drops, and this Omni token fills into whatever slot you don't have. So I think that for like a pure, if you're somebody who's like, I will never set foot into the raid at all, then this is it's a buff to you, but it's not like it's only 1 free tier piece. That's true. But anybody else is getting much more than 1 free tier piece out of this.
Trial, I have a question for you. Do you ever select the tier piece until after you have 3 other tier pieces?
No, I think you hold that thing until you have your 3 set. Yeah, I was about to say that too.
Yeah,
like that's such a problem too. Like you feel bad if you actually pick the wrong slot, and you like next week in your vault you get a new slot, or
right?
The same
Yeah.
slot, like,
oh man.
Yeah.
If you like roll a helm,
exactly.
You get to Tuesday and you open your Great Vault and it's just a max mythic item level tier set helm. You're like, really?
We don't care. Like
no way.
Players like us, since we raid mythic and we full clear heroic and we're capping our vaults and shit, we don't care about this actually. Like this is fine. Actually, this is a good system for us.
It benefits us for sure. I mean, I'm trying to think of like the non-raider would have to pug normal and heroic raid and then probably lose the roll on the tier piece drop. Like, yeah, that's gonna be pretty frustrating for them. I mean, at least they do get 1 extra tier piece though, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing if you clear Aberrus normal, you are gonna see 1 point. You are expected to get 1.2 tier pieces out of a normal Aberrus clear if you just click need on on average, right? Obviously, a lot of players are going to get 0, and a couple players are going to get 2 or 3 or whatever out of that full clear. But if you do that for a couple of weeks, like that, you're moving to the world of needing to be quite unlucky to not be getting at least 2 piece out of that. Out of that level of content without setting foot into heroic raid and getting heroic eye level tier. If you only have to be doing like 11 keys to be able to upgrade normal raid gear up to heroic eye level. Like I think that is a huge quality of life, and like there's a huge subset of players that do normal raid and plus 11 keys that this patch would have had 3 piece and eye level 390, and next patch will have 4 piece and eye level 410, right? Like that is a huge power spike to that player, right? But then also, if you're like a Mythic Plus only player, then if you will never set foot into Aberrus, the Shadowed Crucible, then it's not that much better.
Okay, now let's look at it from POV of like people who raid.
Yeah,
I think that we have hopefully explained well enough. Yeah. Kind of the I don't want to do raid. What do I do? Now let's talk about from Raider perspective. How good is this for Raiders? I feel like this is actually a very stark upgrade in
Yeah.
a lot of situations.
I mean, it is 4-piece week 2 without splits for everybody is my projection from this, and it's 4-piece 411 and 415 equivalent. Like,
So you get Omni token.
everybody's got one Omni token.
Everybody's got one Omni token.
Any normal or heroic
Yeah.
tier piece that drops is going to somebody useful. You're filling the Omnis are filling whichever slot you don't get.
With Master
Yeah.
Legion, yeah.
You can have an alt come into your clear and hold the Omni token and log out and keep that 2-hour trade window open. And,
This is assuming we're not doing splits.
but let's
yeah, I
assume we're
guess.
not doing that. But you could do. I'm just saying you could do that if you were interested. You could
Yeah,
have you could hold those and see what drops in which slots for who.
My
but-
guild's third splits
True.
feel pretty good right now, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, you know, previously it would be better to do 3 heroic splits and 3 normal splits. In this new world, I think it would be better to do 2 heroic splits and 5 normal splits than that, or 2 and 4. Like that.
Okay,
that honestly
well-
might be better and faster in terms of gear because of the upgrade system.
Don't tell
So,
my
good.
GM because I cannot be gearing another character.
well, that's the thing. It's normal. You wouldn't have to gear it, right? Like that's the normal splits are going to be the way of the future off of this. Which, I mean, the thing is that like any discussion of like splits being optimal out of this though, you are going to have 4-piece on week 2 pretty much regardless of what you do. If you are full clearing heroic and normal with your guild,
Yes.
Like
Yes.
if you and a guild are full clearing normal and heroic. By the end of week 2, the players that don't have 4-piece are just like the unlucky people that are on whichever token you just happen to not see. And that's obviously like it's going to be sucked to be one of those players. And then by week 3, they will have their 4-piece as well. Like this, it is a huge buff
Yeah.
to raiding guilds getting their tier. It means that 4-piece is going to be, if you are in a raiding guild and you're not a tank or a healer, you have 4-piece basically guaranteed by the end of the second full clear of heroic IMO. It's like at least what my napkin math seems to be suggesting on this.
The additional guaranteed Omni token off the final boss, I think, is such a step in the right direction too. I mean, that was a major criticism of Jailer, is just like, oh, I didn't have
Right.
enticing loot. They should have put Omni token on it. But I think the Omni token, just in general, is just like, I think it's just a cool idea. Like to be able to walk to a vendor, and be like, yeah, I got kind of unlucky. I want these pants. Now I do have I guess a question of like, because they still have like stair step item level, correct?
Yeah.
Is this going to be like the only way of getting some tier pieces at that higher item level?
Like mythic raid item level?
The absolute highest step of mythic raid item level is the Omni token going to be the only way of getting it, like the 424 equivalent, or is it
Well, you
going to
could-
come as the raid eye level equivalent?
I'm sure it would drop as like a heroic Omni token or a normal Omni token, right?
Right.
And then start at that specific
So-
item level.
Mythic Sarkrath would be
Sure.
would be one way to get 424. Yeah. I
You see what I'm
think
saying? Yeah.
maybe that's the way to get Mythic 424, pants or whatever, if there's no pants for you at 424.
Or does it drop the
equivalent?
Sinarth pants? Or do, like,
Right,
Oh,
or
I see
does
what
it,
you're saying,
or
yeah.
does using it give you the lower item level
Yeah.
base? That is an interesting question. It's not especially relevant for heroic or normal because all of those are on the same upgrade path as each other, so they're actually all upgradable to the same ceiling. But it is relevant for the mythic pieces. But it's something that's relevant for mythic only after you've killed mythic Sarkrath, so it doesn't
Yeah,
really
it's-
matter
it's-
because
it's after Prague, right?
You've
So
already beat
it's-
the game, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So, but that is
That's not
interesting.
a big deal.
Interesting
Yeah.
theory.
what was the other thing I had? God, there was one more question that I had about it that wasn't super clear. I think it was about. I'll come back to it later. Doesn't matter. Was there anything else that was in that post that you guys want to discuss? I actually thought that post was so insightful.
Yeah.
As to just like Blizzard's line of thinking.
I guess my worry is that it does mean that we are going to be full power real early into next patch. Which, when you think about like the problems that Sepulchre had, a lot of its problems were that guilds reaching Anduin or guilds reaching Halandris on week 4 were not substantially more powerful than guilds reaching it on week 3, and guilds reaching it on week 8 were not substantially more powerful than guilds reaching it on week 4. Right? Like you had 4-piece and double Lego if you were at any of those guilds, right? And so like that boss needed to get nerfed a lot, right? Anduin needed to get nerfed a lot. Jailer Rygalon needed to get nerfed a lot because unlike Dathia, the boss didn't get nerfed automatically by everybody getting more eye level. So, and getting 4-piece and stuff that didn't have it earlier on in the patch. So I'm a little bit worried that this means that they're going to need to be much more quick about nerfing bosses that are brick walling people, because I am a little bit worried that like by week 3 of this patch, everybody's going to have 411 equivalent or better tier, and so the only upgrades they're going to be getting are very marginal ones rather than like the huge upgrades we were getting even a month into this patch.
Yeah, I think maybe they just need to not make bosses as hard as Halandris or Anduin or
Yeah,
Jailer.
of course that's another solution to this as well, which, you know, they did in Vault. But I guess my worry is basically that without gear, with gear like spiking and hitting that asymptote much sooner, right? So hitting diminishing returns much sooner. That's
you
gonna
just
be
said asymptote.
yeah.
I need to Google that one. Hang on.
That's like when the graph starts like approaching you know, a line.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been too long. I'm getting too old.
Towards it's when a
when
graph
it trends towards zero or whatever, infinity. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, infinity. Yeah. Negative infinity, positive infinity, that kind of thing.
That's something I'm a little bit worried about because this is a huge. I mean, it's a huge, unbelievable buff to a lot of different players, and like yes, there are certain types of there are certain types of content you could be clearing where you're not going to get much more tier out of this. That's definitely true, but it's pretty specific sets of players where that's not true, right? Like anybody doing any combination of M plus and raid levels, even a little bit of both, is going to be getting huge, much more tier than before, much quickly into the patch.
I will say, I guess the only thing that I'm really concerned about here is like the fact that they're still continuing to label them as class sets, yet raiding has such a stark advantage. And if you don't raid, we talked about earlier, if you refuse to raid for whatever reason, say you're a PvPer, I think that PvP is probably the one that, if anything is going to get this change, is probably the arena players. But like, if you are PvP only, you do not have any desire to step foot in the raid one bit, like, the class set comes with the catalyst for you, and that's not great.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it's like a class set. It's not even like a raid set anymore. They've changed it.
I feel like if anything, they should have not done these improvements for raid and just made the catalysts come out way sooner. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're supposed to do now that they buffed all the acquisition from raid to increase it for raiders. I don't know what else they could do on top of that wouldn't make it even better for raiders, but also help PvPers and Mythic Plus players.
Yeah, it's it seems committed to raid being the best source of these things, and now they're kind of at a spot where they can't really just buff the acquisition for everybody without it being even more guaranteed on week 2 for many players. Which
like if they
I don't know.
If they added one more way to get tier, I'm pretty sure everybody that raids just has 4 set week 1.
Yeah,
right. Which
like,
I mean, I think
it's already
already
really close to that.
Already, if you're doing splits, you have that. I think pretty guaranteed. Yeah.
I mean, we are. How many splits are you guys doing, Dretness?
I mean, honestly, I think we're only going to do 2 because I think you're only going to need to do 2, and Mythic time is going to be more valuable. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing 3, but like,
I don't do splits. I bet I have mine week 1 or week 2 though.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like you're going to run into it being a bad use of time pretty quick. Maybe not week 1. Maybe week 1, the third split's good. But week 2, I don't even know if you do any splits. I don't know if you do anything besides just Mythic Raid, which is good. Obviously, like everybody who does splits would rather not be doing them. It's just like you're doing them because it's the best way to gear, and you're trying to be optimal.
I mean, this tier, every week 3 had their tier set for us.
Yeah,
like the whole entire guild, every week 3.
Yeah, my guild.
There was no exceptions. Like we didn't even get snubbed. Like we kind of got snubbed on tier a little bit, and we still had everybody week 3.
We had a Zenith incident in my guild, which was unfortunate, but other than that, we were pretty good, pretty quick as well. All right, let's see. We have some Q&A questions to get to. I guess a few Q&A questions potentially. Yeah. But first, we have our Patreon supporters to thank. They include Paul. Top of the morning to you. How many times will my guild go on hiatus at the end of a tier before I go and find a new guild? Yeah, guilds going on hiatus is what do you guys think the chances are when a guild says they're going on hiatus that they ever come back?
I'm seeking a new guild if my guild says I'm taking a break.
Yeah, if there's not a defined time for how many weeks off are being taken, then it's very good chance that you're not coming back. Yeah,
my guild takes defined like 1 month breaks at the end of tiers all the time.
Yeah,
I think that's like saying like, hey, we're taking a month or whatever, like that. My guild's done that too. We did that in Shadowlands because nobody wanted to play that game at all, so we just didn't raid between tiers. But we haven't been doing that this extension, so that's been nice. Never Nude, Ja, King of Skills, Dranos' Dino Pillow, Chromed, Trekkie, Chewy. Diablo 4 has issues with 3080 Ti. Beware. You guys been playing D4? Do you guys play the D4 beta?
Oh yeah, I played it.
Yeah, me
I
too.
geared out a Sork and
Me
a
too.
Barb.
I played a Sork. I played a Lightning Sork. I was zapping things around.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good build. I played Lightning and Fire Sork, and I played Bleed Barbarian.
Ooh. Tettles, how about you? You playing a D4?
No, but I actually have more information on this. Apparently, it's like a gigabyte card. It might be a gigabyte card issue, but there's some other issues with 3080 Ti's. But the gigabyte
think they
card is the
already-
one that.
I think they already put out a driver for those, by the way, to fix that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if they've already got a driver update, there you go.
Yeah. I after the D4 beta stopped, I've been playing some like Last Epoch because there's no the PoE content is 3.5 months old now, so there's no like I want to play ARPGs again, but now
Dude, same. I'm getting the itch for them.
Yeah, there's a new PoE league in like 2 weeks. That's gonna be me.
D4
100%.
open beta soon,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, D4 has another
it's
beta
open
weekend
tomorrow again.
but it's like there's like 2 beta weekends and then it's closed until launch again, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will probably play D4 once it comes out as well, but there's time to play the PoE League between then and now as well. There's all of April. There's no WoW content pretty much to speak of, right? Just keys, and I don't know what topics we're gonna come up with, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good content, of course, for on this podcast, World of Warcraft related, of course, but maybe one of the months where I don't log in as much. Yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna do for podcasts.
There's a lot of good stuff coming in the next like 4 months. We got Diablo, we got PoE, we got a new WoW patch, probably TGP and somewhere in there, right?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of good stuff.
MDI Finals is next weekend as well.
Yeah, MDI Finals.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. A lot of cool stuff.
ZivXX, Salty Seni, Necris, Sinmora, Tankdill, Nevuk, Eevee, Unholy DKs Rise Up. By the way, Unholy DKs, your talent trees have changed a little bit. So if you are like me and you have been doing 2 out of 8 Mythic on Unholy DK, make sure your talent builds are correct. And not like me that had a wrong talents, because it still stayed. Like I changed talent builds and it worked. It didn't give me like unspent talents, but then I had Epidemic talented instead of Unholy Blight because they like swapped them in the tree. So no trick. I forgot I was sub tier. Diemat, Freehold Waiting Room, Rework Mistweaver, 10.0.7 Abyssian just won me over. Nyx, Rip Bozo, I say as I stare at the last seasonal affix, not yet aware of what the true consequences of losing seasonals really is. Gallic, Brusif, Dratnos Abyss. Congratulations on the legendary double interview, Dratnos. Insanity, Xena. Rogue is now good enough for Frog, still bad enough to be sat for SLG, plus up.
Bless that guy.
YouTube.com/workworkbringer. Alphabet Soup. Dude, soon Rogues will be able to like solo SLG. Like in 2 years, that's gonna be happening in this. That's gonna be good, I guess. Druid Friends of Evolved Gaming, #1 Simsky Petrelsky. Lurka still manages to make raid and key groups while being on the other side of the planet. What's your excuse? Milk. Sife, Pone, Windwalker monks deal with nerfs by rolling with the punches. Thesaurus.com is a powerful tool. The Marsh Hare, Veilstrider Spar. In Before Blizzard brings back Stonecore for 10.2 so they can keep their streak of seasons with a worm boss alive.
Oh god.
Big Head Small Brain. Narnar TV is back and has Primal Wrath keybound. Agitar, Juniper. Thank you for resetting my Manic Grief Torch. Husky Brent got leaped out of Runa Power 5 times this week because Thundering is an affix. Rat Run. Iridicron breaks out at the end of Vault. Like, coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all.
Started out with a kiss. How did it end up like this?
There's just no way. That moment where your tank says, "Now where's my ranged at?" during Jade Serpent Dragon Boss and bricks your key. Feral Druids in the MDI, you've got to be kidding me. And oh, you don't have that yet? Boom. And Sire Dematicus. Thank you all for the support. The names there's some good ones in there this week.
So I have a question. You've
Okay.
been trying to get the title. How many times per week / per session do you think you wipe to Thundering?
0 to 1 per session. Maybe?
Okay,
Like once every
That's
8
not bad.
keys, something like that.
that's not bad.
My group is, and there are also some Thundering abusers as well. Like they if I try to clear on the range DPS and there's more than 5 seconds on the debuff, they run away from me.
No, I hate it. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. Dude, there was somebody I played with the other day, and he ran away from me when I tried to clear on him, and we had like 4 seconds left. And he goes, "No, I have to finish my rec," and I go, Huh?
Yeah, it's
I
I would
that
say
guy's saying.
I don't think we've been wiping to all that much though. We had a death to it in Shadow and Burial Grounds coming up out of the Soul Split, due to greed.
Okay.
and
Oh
that
that
happens.
happens.
Yeah, there are a couple other like just like the classic thundering combos that get you on certain bosses or whatever. But other than that, it's been pretty good. How about you guys? Have you guys been having more or less trouble with that affix?
I feel like recently, yes, for some reason. Like probably lost like 3 or 4 keys last week to that.
I think it depends on the people we play with. Yeah,
I
mean,
think
we've
that's
been playing
probably
with
just like a streak of bad luck. I don't know.
Well, I think it's just
Yeah.
been like more that we've also been cycling in and out different people, right? We're not playing the same consistent 5 all the time.
Yeah, that's true. The dynamic definitely switches depending on how many melee and range you have, especially because like if you have 1 melee and they get the odd man out mark, then they have to run to range, or range have to run to them because it's not always safe to clear on the tank.
Correct.
And if you have 2 melee, oftentimes they can just clear with each other, and it's pretty easy, But yeah, it definitely changes.
All right, next Q&A time. Q&A time. Our first question comes from the Calazar, who says, "As someone that does M+ and can do heroic pugs, I think this change is enormous for me. Being able to not do mythic and get mythic trinkets plus big weapons is super nice." Yeah, I mean that's I think the biggest part of this system, like the biggest change, I feel like is not the Omni tokens or any of that stuff. It's the upgrade system. Like the fact that normal gear is now all the way upgradable to high heroic and heroic gear is upgradable to low mythic is the biggest change coming in this patch. And it's not one of the ones announced in this post, but it's I think the most important one for like how gearing is going to work for everybody, whether or not you mythic raid. It's huge if you mythic raid, but it's huger if you don't.
The things that I hate the situation where players end up feeling like they are in a spot where they hit that wall where they're like, why should I even play? This isn't worth my time until the catalyst comes out. And I really, really, really hate that. Like
Yeah.
I think that just for players is like really bad.
It's worth noting that even LFR gear can be upgraded to high normal eye level as well. So LFR tier is on the table as well.
I remember my question was gonna be earlier. Do you guys have friends who refuse to step in the raid, like at all?
Just a couple. I think that population is maybe small. I don't know. I think there's a lot of different kind of WoW players. It's hard to know.
How many tier pieces do they have, Trell? Do you know? Like even like Crassus. How many was Crassus doing heroic?
I don't know what he was doing. I think he was probably doing heroic.
Because I know Greg was doing heroic.
Yeah. I mean, most people we know that don't raid just like pug heroic or just like tag along with friends raids from heroic and get their tier that way. But I know there's for sure some people that don't want to step into raid whatsoever,
Yeah.
I just don't know how many.
Yeah. I will say that like if you were somebody who like pugging heroic was kind of cringe because like heroic pugs had a low success rate, now you can pug normal and get better rewards than pugging heroic gave you in Vault. Like that's
yeah. I do think that's a really good point because pugging normal is
Yeah.
always pretty easy if you're a good Mythic Plus player. And I mean, if
Yeah.
you're an only Mythic Plus player and you're doing, say, 20s, you can definitely pug normal raid.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
If you're doing 11 keys and you pug normal raid as well, you get the right upgrade tokens to bring them all the way up to heroic.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay. Next question comes from Funky Odo in Discord that says, "Is the new gearing system too convoluted?" My first response is no, but all the comments I see around them complain about difficulty and understanding how it all works. A cool way to further simplify is remove crests and add a progression-style leveling system where you get experience and then you have leveling experience at endgame that you use to upgrade your characters or to upgrade gear. I think that would also be complicated unless you wanted to remove the parts about needing to do certain level content to upgrade to certain eye levels, which is something that the crests do, right? I do think it is something that reads more complicated than it's going to play.
I agree with that.
The way it's going to work in play is like, oh, this is the mythic piece. I need this to upgrade things to mythic eye level. Okay, I'll use this. Like, I go to the upgrade thing, it tells me how much I need of it. I go do mythic content, I get the mythic stuff, right? Like, but yeah, it is something where it's like, oh, there's these 12 different upgrade steps and paths and stuff. A downside of the system is definitely that it reads pretty complicated. I don't know if there's an easy way for them to have not had it read as complicated as it is.
I think that it's just like they actually wrote out what the system was going to be, so of course it's going to come off as more wordy and complicated than it actually
Right.
is, like once you start playing it. Because I don't think anything's gonna be more complicated than the fucking crafted system we had from this tier.
Yeah. By the way, crafted gear appears to be 3 item levels higher on PTR relative to now as well. So crafted gear stonks big upwards as well. So
Yeah.
potentially huge there.
Start banking that gold.
But yeah, I will say
It's gonna be expensive.
like comments on my videos about this upgrade system, a lot of them have also been like, I saw the size of this post and my brain turned off, right? And like, yeah, that's
Yes.
reasonable, but like once you do start to play with it, it will be simple compared to Primordial Stones, which like once you start to play with it, it doesn't tell you how it works, and like you still need to go and look at outside resources or whatever. Once you just play with this upgrade system and like put an item in the item upgrade person, you will understand, like it will make intuitive sense to you how it works pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that
Yeah.
and Blizzard sometimes will hit you with the it just works, but I think that this is something that
this
just works.
this is one where it's like they are giving us more information and like full information about all of the item level steps and everything in like a full explained post, which makes it seem more complicated than it is, but it is not actually a complicated or convoluted system.
Cool. That's good. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great news.
Next question comes from Eziak, who asks, did I finish my spreadsheet? I assume this is about the thundering stuff.
Yeah.
The work is actually still ongoing on that. I have a lot of the information done, but there's a lot of stats work being done on this sheet by
statisticians.
Yeah,
is it still like around 1%?
It depends on the key level.
Okay.
Higher keys tend to get a little bit more value out of it, but it's always like 2 to 3% usually is what it's looking like in terms of value. But we're gonna answer some other questions about like how likely are you to deplete if you get a stun from thundering, right? Like how much does one thundering stun increase your chances of depleting the key? And we have the numbers. We just got to run some regressions or something.
I can tell you that it increases my chance by 100% because I'm ready to zone out of the key once I've gotten stunned by thundering. I'm no longer.
These are done by logged runs, right?
Yeah. Which include depletes. We have our sample includes depletes all the way up to the 40% over mark. So you're right though that it does introduce a problem of like, is there systematically stuff different about people who log their runs versus people who don't? Nothing we can do about that.
I think that is I think I actually do
that's
think
just something we gotta we'll put in the disclaimers and
Yeah, I think that a lot of you get thundering stunned and then you just leave the key like that is very, very common. I'd say like probably half the runs aren't even logged because that happens a lot.
Yeah, so it's still going to be something that will be it'll be limited use, but it should still be interesting because there's still a huge effect to the stun even among logged runs, bringing it from in time to deplete.
Yeah, that would be interesting for sure.
All right, next question comes from Nushi, who says, I'm struggling to increase my M+ score. Do you have any advice for a tank gamer to reach title range? Let's see. Advice for a tank gamer to reach title range. My advice is play with people better than yourself. That's what I do.
Okay.
That's been my strategy. It's really good.
Well, I did this last season anonymously. Mostly, I tried to be anonymous, but I have a whole like YouTube 7 days of streaming where I climbed from like mid-range score, like doing 15s to rank 1 title, just in pugs only. Almost no voice for every single run too. So if anyone's ever interested in that, I got evidence of how to do it.
That's the other strategy of being better than everybody in your group and carrying them, which is that one is a lot harder to implement though. You have to be really good.
So what advice do you have then, Trell? Something like that?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but a lot of it is like figure out the most easy to understand language and like have words prepared to type in chat for a lot of different things. Like let's say tree boss, you walk in Algathar and you say tree first, carry on aggro till all mobs are to me or something like that. But like be really concise.
Go left.
And then once you get to the boss, go left as soon as you start the boss, stuff like that.
Yeah, kill branch.
And then you also you want to have like a couple routes for each dungeon that are basically just extremely simple, but make it as efficient as you can at the same time. Kind of like Dravenos' weekly routes, to be honest.
I mean, that they basically, I don't think they're designed for like title push necessarily, but it's pretty much the idea of like, what could you as a tank go into a pug and like have a reasonable estimate that people will be able to safely execute these pulls, right? Like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, how do you coordinate like? So I guess there's a couple of dungeons, and I'm thinking like Algathar Academy and Knockout Offensive that have mobs that generally require like kick rotations or a little bit more coordination with kicks. How
Well,
do
yeah,
you
that's
deal with
the
that kind
hardest
of thing?
part, I think. This season, it would be really hard to do that because of that, and it's because of Nokud, is one of them, and Temple is the other, where you have like
Yep, I can see that one.
multiple extremely difficult casters that if one cast goes off and like a tidal range key, someone's gonna die, and so you have to like that's a really hard situation for Pugs. You have to have a bunch of scenarios prepared in your head of like, how am I going to have this comp kick both mobs at the same time consistently, and like try to do your best to coordinate that before you pull,
So you tell
Or
them to log on a prop paladin.
yeah, prop paladin. If you're playing prop
Yeah.
paladin, then you can do it
or
all
just
by
play
yourself.
prop paladin.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's probably the easiest way to pug title this season is in those keys at least to be prop paladin.
Hmm.
Yeah.
DPS healer comps from you guys. What do you guys think? You think that you can kind of just play with? Is it just like the general tried and true look for the best players kind of
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah, I generally, when I was plugging last season, I was like gambling on the meta specs a lot. Like
Okay.
I would I would queue up a key, right? And it was like a 27 lower care or whatever. And like 15 warlocks would apply, like 3 mages, and what else is meta?
Serve Hunter.
Survive,
MS.
yeah, hunters. So yeah, so it was like warlocks, mages, and hunters. So a lot of times I would just gamble on like an experienced warlock or a mage. And then if they were good, I'd add them, obviously, and then I'd try to run with like the better players that I meet of the classes that I wanted. So you definitely have to like trial Pugs quite a bit doing this
Okay.
process.
Okay.
Yeah. I think especially with thundering as well, it's nice to have a melee so that you can clear on them. But full range groups are also good.
You have a rogue. Rogue
Yeah,
is nice.
I think rogues are nice.
Rogue is great for title
I feel-
keys, 100%.
I also feel like rogue damage is so hit or miss, but I feel like rogue players generally know how to stop things at this day and age for M+,
Right.
and so like having those in your group is only nice.
Yeah, just you can have a rogue and you could say like, rogue, I'm gonna mark some stuff with star. Anytime a mob is marked with star, that is your responsibility, right? And then you just put that on one mob in a pack, and it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
All right. Well, I guess there's our answer to that question. And with that, I think that's the end of our content for the week as well. We hope everybody's been enjoying their time here in the Forbidden Reach. Hope jewel crafters out there have been making some bank off of the unstable elementium. And we'll be back next week, probably to talk, I guess, more about 10.1 stuff. There's raid testing tomorrow, so check out all of that content that me and Tettles, at least, I think will be putting out.
Raid testing. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of raid testing.
It might be, maybe
Trail as well. All right, lit. And then MDI in 8 days. 8 days MDI time.
Okay.
That is going to be it for us this week, though. GN gamers.
GN.
Goodbye.